I uh I normally don't talk about sports. I normally never talk about sports. So it's a lot of people that do. Shout out to Snowman. Shout out to Mace, Taggart. Yeah, I mean, I normally never, and the reason why I want to emphasize that I hardly ever talk about sports is that, and especially football, is because basically this is like so much of a deal to me to where I gotta talk about it. I mean, it's like literally this is something that you could say it goes back to 1985 when they won the Super Bowl, the Chicago Bears. That was probably the one of the best teams um, in Bears history. That probably won't never happen again. I don't know. Probably not in my lifetime. I don't know. I was a kid. I didn't know anything about. I didn't know that much about football at all. I didn't even. I really didn't even at the time. All I knew, it was a song. I knew it was the Super Bowl Shuffle song that played on the radio, played on TV. All of these different characters. William Refrigerator Perry. I think he was like 500 pounds, and he was like kind of like a comedian. Walter Payton. My father actually met Walter Payton. I asked my father because my father used to drive a cab. He drove a cab for like over 30 years. I said, what famous people did you pick up? He said he picked up Walter Payton. And, it's like basically, yeah, at that time I just knew the song. I knew that they had won the Super Bowl. It was a big deal. And that was live. When I got older, I'll say when I really started getting into football, and of course I played football when I was in the Navy. I I played a little bit with the semi pro league when I was in Champaign, but played outside linebacker, defensive end. I was pretty fast when I got to the quarterback because I wasn't no I wasn't big my whole life. I was normally always skinny and fast. But the thing is that yeah, I started getting into football probably about, I would say, in the 90s, the early 90s. I started more and more noticing football. I probably started noticing the rules and everything when I was in high school. And by then, I didn't play high school football primarily. I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of a little bit somewhat concerned about getting hit. I ain't gonna lie, and then I was into basketball. I went to a primarily a basketball school, and that was what I was into, and I was, hoop dreams and all that. So I really didn't start trying to play football till like my sophomore year, but I was just trying to play basketball. But all of that aside, man, I started getting serious with football probably in my high school years, the mid 90s. And all throughout that time, the Bears had, losing seasons. Basically, just in case you didn't know, McMahon, the quarterback that won, the last quarterback that helped the Bears win the Super Bowl was Jim McMahon. I think, like, I don't know if it was the following year, the year after that, or something like that. He went right up north. I mean, literally, okay, just in case people don't know, from Lambeau Field in Green Bay, from Chicago is like 2 hours. It's like a 2 hour drive. Literally. It's nothing. It's less than really 2 hours. It's like you put on You put on a CD, like a full C. You put on Outcast Stankonia, and then you gonna be, by the time you hit the end of the song, the last song, you'll be in Green Bay. So like basically, he just went right. He probably got right in his Corvette and just drove right to Green Bay. Cause see, the thing is, and this is what happened to Dicker, Mike Dicker, the last coach that um won the Super Bowl for the Bears. Basically, he played for the Bears back in, I think, the '60s. So like he was like he fit the team at that time, the '85 Bears. Like he was a tough, take no shit, take no prisoners, extreme alpha male coach. Okay. They management, he wasn't taking no stuff. The management, everybody knows about the Bears management. They know about the McCaskies. And that's pretty much kind of where I'm drawing this picture of where the problem is with the Bears. A lot of the times when you find franchises that have programs where you wonder what's going on with this team. Why is this team the way it is? Why are they doing the things they do? It's basically the owners. Okay. The owners are owned by the McCaskies, pretty much the kind of like the family of I think George Hallis. Like I think that's her granddad or something like that. Well, she's old. Her son is like the manager of the Bears organization. They're super rich. They're noted for saying they don't care about winning. They're more concerned about ticket sales and capitalism than winning. And they're noted and on record for saying that. And here's the thing, that's what's holding the Bears back. The McCaskies is holding the Bears back. One of the things about a lot of people don't understand about Illinois. Okay, Illinois has a predominant Irish Catholic base in Illinois. At one time, they were primarily a political powerhouse in Illinois, from the governor to the mayor. I mean, and here's another thing. They also were going back, because see, Chicago, a lot of times people talk about Chicago, what's going on in Chicago. All you gotta do is look at Chicago. Chicago has always been a gangster city. It's been, I mean, since the early 1900s, really 1800s. Okay. At one time, it was mafia wars, like back in the Capone days. So Capone, the Italians used to work with the blacks. Okay, the blacks and the Italians worked together on the south side, and the Irish was on the north side. They used to war with each other. Okay, that turned into, you know what it turned into as far as historically. Then you have, Daley Senior. Basically he was a gang leader. He was basically a gangster that got into politics and turned into mayor. His son was no different. His son was pretty much, affiliated, very well connected. He was kind of, maybe he was forced out of office. I think he was forced out of office because he had some secrets, had some skeletons in his closet. But all of that aside, the Irish literally, even to this day, have a lot of wealth, a lot of power and influence in Chicago. It is fading. It is fading, but they are pretty much a powerhouse in Chicago. The McCaskies definitely are Irish. They own the Bears. They are. primarily the reason why the Bears suck ball juice and have sucked for years, decades now. Okay. They have a problem with retaining talent, picking talent, because their primary focus is not winning. It's ticket sales, like they said. Now, they've made attempts and stuff like that to get players and stuff like that. But see, here's the thing, and this is where it goes into business. This is where I put my business hat on. A lot of companies, and even in sports, it's no different. They have a problem retaining talent, and some companies even have a problem even finding talent. But even if they find talent, they don't retain them. They think like it's like nothing, like you're no big deal. Kind of like a woman. A lot of the times women have this problem. A lot of, I talk about, relationships and stuff a lot. A lot of that's what happens with women. They get with a dude and they think he's nothing. The grass is always greener on the other side. Then the dude goes and gets somebody else and get married, have family, and then the chick's salty. She don't want to talk to you no more. She don't even want to speak to you, none of that, because she's salty because she let you go. She fumbled you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the Bears have done for decades now. Recently, they've got rid of Montgomery. Montgomery is literally reviving Detroit with one fucking play at a time. Literally, they literally got rid of a very seasoned running back that they put all kind of money in, talent, and they let him go. They let a lot of people go. It's too many people. You can go. I can go back to Brandon Marshall. I can go to Devin Hester, one of the greatest punt returners in NFL history. The coaching they got rid of. Lovie Smith, he had a 10-5 record. Got them deep into the playoffs. The last coach that got them to the Super Bowl. They have a problem with retention, and then also they have a problem with also fumbling the draft. It's very well noted how they fumbled the draft. Now, they corrected themselves by getting Justin Fields. Now, a lot of people hating on Justin Fields and all. His last year is in the history books. He broke all kind of records. He was showing off his talents. He was being compared to Michael Vick and so on and so forth. He even was better than Michael Vick. I saw Michael Vick play. He was doing things that Michael Vick wasn't even doing. So they trying to throw him under the bus. Now trying to put him into a trick bag. Is he fucking up? Yeah, he's fucking up. That little live play he did when he was damn near in the end zone, I was like, what the fuck is that? You can't be relaxed like that. You got to be aggressive. You can't be too relaxed like that. But the thing is that he is also having problems with the way they're coaching him. They're trying to coach him they're trying to put him on a leash. He wants to play a certain type of way. He fits in a certain type of way. They're messing up his fucking play style by trying to put a leash on his performance. The coach, Matt Eberflus, a lot of these coaches really are, pretty much defensive coaches or offensive coaches. They're not necessarily head coaches, but the Bears are so desperate, they'll get anybody damn near the coach. But it's not it doesn't matter, what coach they get, because they can't keep and retain talent. They have a really bad problem of keeping and maintaining talent. Very is very well noted, you know, about their problems. And as far as the actual play in the game, all they have to do is basically the teams basically know they have no passing offense. So they know that Justin is going to have to run. They know that Justin is going to have to, throw little side passes to the, you know, sideline or whatever, little draws. So all they do is basically play the short game. And then the long game, they just basically block off, and he has nothing. And the receivers, he got some okay receivers. It's nothing to write home to mom about. But the thing is that there's no passing offense because it's also what? No running offense. They got rid of Montgomery, sent him up to Detroit. He's getting off in Detroit. He's literally. I know them guys in Detroit. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't gonna hold you. Detroit is a miserable city. I would imagine. I've been there too. I'm sure. I'm sure it's a lot of people that are dealing with a lot of despair and shit like that. Because also the Detroit Lions actually sucked worse than the Bears. The Detroit Lions had they had a season where they didn't win not one game. They went entire season without a win. Or I don't know. I think they maybe won one. They might have not even won one game. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure they went like the damn near the whole season where they didn't win a game. Now they we out of the basically Aaron Rodgers era. He literally blew out his knee like a typical you know guy that's in his late 30s or early 40s. And pretty much he's got his understudy or whatever in, and you know he's not Aaron Rodgers. And Detroit is pretty much on top of the standings now, in the NFC Central. So it's like, man, I mean, it's like night and day compared to where things were 4 or 5 years ago. And it's interesting and it's tripped out. I'm indifferent about it. I'm long term about it as far as me being a Bears fan. I really don't really care because I already know how they are, and I know what's going on as far as them as an organization and what they're doing. All of the players that they got rid of Khalil Mack. They got rid of, all of these different players, man, that you can say were pretty good talent that they could have retained. And they are very noted for not wanting to pay any contracts, not wanting to pay more. They'll rather give up the player and draft a cheaper player that's coming out the draft or a free agent. And here's the thing. That coaching, that management, it leads to what they have now, which is losing seasons. You know, fans that are just booing. Man, the last time I really watched the Bears game, they was booing the fucking Bears in their own stadium. And I'm like, God, dog, that's crazy. You getting booed in your own state. That's gotta suck. You know. But yeah, I mean, it's not much they could do. They don't have the proper coaching. Okay, here's another thing. They got caught. Okay, they got the defensive coordinator got caught with child porn on his computer and a bunch of other stuff. The feds raided his house. He got caught with some type of shit in his house or whatever, some child pornography, something like that. So now they don't even have a defensive coordinator, or they gotta, do something. They gotta find somebody. Now they got Eberflus, basically doing offensive plays and defensive plays. I'm not sure how that's gonna work out. I'm very, very pessimistic when it comes to the Bears. A lot of people in Chicago are. I'm not ready to fucking like give up, being a Bears fan and fucking, buy a goddamn other jersey or some shit like that. It's just the thing is it's just really, really, really dumb, to actually every year have to deal with this shit. And you know what it is. It's always you could always point it up towards management. It's like a corporation. A corporation, they blame management. Management is always to blame. You start up, you don't start down. It's hardly ever down. It's usually always up. A company is always to blame up top, not down low. Now, the thing is that it's nothing you could do about their ownership. They can keep that ownership for lifetimes. They have wealth, they have power and influence. They I don't know if they will sell the Bears. I don't know if any inside circles as far as know about them selling, or their projections as far as if they looking to sell. You can't necessarily force them to sell. What traditionally they have done is pass the ownership in the family, kind of like the Lakers with the buses. So they probably will pass ownership and everything like that. And it's just sad, it's like, what can you do about that? Like, become a billionaire tomorrow and, try to, what? I don't know. How can you can't buy a team that don't want to sell? I mean, then I have to put my gangster hat on. I got, he could, yeah, you know where I'm going with that. But they, what I'm saying, I don't think they Rudy Poos. I don't think that they weak. Like, they probably, what I'm saying, are not intimidated. They like I said, they are a family that basically inherited the Bears from their grandfather, who literally has something to do with the uh origination of the Bears organization. So it's like a family tradition type of thing. But yeah, I don't see I don't see that much hope as far as if you're a Bears fan, whatever. I it's probably gonna be like it is for probably the next 5 to 10 years. Uh, it's sad, you know, but this is what it is, man. It's like it has a racial element to it as well. These are black players, and they don't, in Chicago, people are very, very racist. Okay, they don't think of black people in light where they're worthy and stuff like that. Maybe other states may have different issues, but I think possibly some of their inability to play players is based off of them being black players, and they don't feel that they're worthy of it. You see that with their commitment to Jay Cutler, which was brutalized by media. Even Steven Smith said he basically robbed the Bears. They gave him, the starting contract was like over $100 million. He was absolutely just, a bum for the Bears organization. He had some good years. Yeah, they had some good teams. They tried to build around him, But basically, Jay Cutler was the great white hope. That was what Jay Cutler was. And they paid him because he was the great white hope to, lead the organization. That, basically a lot of ticket holders are white, and they do want to see some white dude that, come in or whatever, but that wasn't him. Okay. Even Rex Grossman, he wasn't what he needed to be to win and beat Peyton Manning. That is basically a thoroughbred football player that was groomed by his dad, who was an NFL quarterback. He couldn't stand. He couldn't compete with that, and it was what it was. And the thing is that you know that's what you saw, and it was things with the kicker Robbie Gold. That was some tensions and stuff like that. You hear a little bit about this stuff, but you don't really, the sports announcers and stuff, they get inside the locker room a little bit and you hear stuff. But yeah, those teams have tensions, and even now the Bears, I'm sure they're having, altercations. They're cussing each other out. They are tense. Football is a very tense sport. When you get in that locker room and you losing, even if you're not losing, they still be getting into it. Players, it's a lot of testosterone and stuff like that. But them being having losing, games and stuff like that, there's all kind of tension in that locker room. People cussing each other out. People blaming people. Even Justin Fields, he said basically that he was saying the coaching is telling me to do certain things or whatever. He mentioned the coaching, and when a lot of times when people do that, they kind of try to punish them. So they might be kind of like looking towards. I wouldn't even, because that's what they do. The Bears get rid of players that go other places and do well. That's what the Bears do. The Bears is just kind of like they have been kind of like you could just say a D League. The Bears have been like the D League is for the NBA. Like because they basically get players, they get a little good or they get good, and then basically they trade them if they don't get injured or sell them, basically for draft picks or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's what the Bears do. And so I wouldn't be surprised. I'm used to it. I'm at this point, I'm used to them trading good players. I'm gonna probably work on getting a collection of all of the jerseys the Bears of players that they traded away. You know, damn near probably forced him to retirement because they didn't want to pay them no money or whatever, and they didn't want to go nowhere else. I mean, who knows, man? They had some good years. That last year, like I said, Lovey Smith. But the thing is that they definitely have. They went and cleaned house last year. They got rid of everybody above the GM. They forgot a motherfucker. They forgot somebody. They should have got rid of fucking Mike McCaskey. They should have fired him. But they didn't want to fire him because that's his son. That's I forgot her fucking name, the McCaskey. Let me find out what her really that's I that what I'm saying that's either I really don't like you or I like you if I remember your first name because I'm terrible with names. And I don't like this broad. And obviously her son husband is running the organization and he should have been fired too. But they not gonna fire the owner, okay? or the owner's son. So they let him. They fired everybody below him, but him. And the thing is that uh, it's they have a problem. Obviously, they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay players to retain them. There were people talk about Jerry Jones and whatnot, but the McCaskies are worse than fucking Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones paid Ezekiel some money last year or whatever. They paid the quarterback, I forgot his name. You know, you know what I'm talking about. Number 4 or whatever. They paid them their money. They held out. It was some contract negotiation. They paid them. The Bears, they don't even pay the money. They just let the motherfucker go, and then they go somewhere and they get off, and then now you see, okay, the Detroit Lions just beat the Green Bay Packers just tonight. I forgot they was even playing, man. I don't even, I work, and when I get home, I'm not really I don't have the energy to watch any, NFL. I barely even give a fuck about the Bears when they playing. I'm gonna be honest with you. Especially if I don't got the game on cable or whatever. I usually, if I really cared, I would go to a bar or something to watch the game. And I don't even go to bars. You know, um, I'm not doing that. I don't give a fuck. I'll just watch. I'll just listen to the highlights when it's done. If it don't come on TV, that's how committed I am to being a Bears fan this year with this 0-3 record at this point. Next week we got the Broncos basically. Russell Wilson. He's getting a lot of heat in Colorado. Colorado basically got their ass whooped last week. The university and the fucking NFL team, and he's getting a lot of flack. Last year, he basically lost a lot of games. He sucked. He looked miserable, and unfortunately for him, it's no different. Justin is young. He's only been in the league for a couple years. He was spectacular last year, but you can only do so much. Only one man could do so much. But Russell is a seasoned vet, so he don't have like the same type of grace. He's an NFL MVP. I think he went to the MVP. I mean the NFL. Uh, he's a Super Bowl MVP, and he went to the Super Bowl again, but they lost. The infamous "Why you ain't pass it to Marshawn Lynch" play. So they playing next week. So it's like a battle of the 0-3s. Yeah, it's I probably watch that game if it's on TV. If it ain't, I don't know. Knowing how things go, shit, Russell might get his first win. For all I know, Russell might get his first fucking win. Uh, yeah, it's fucked up, man. It's fucked up, man. As a Chicago Bears fan, it's so bad, man. It's people have gotten depressed to where they gotta go talk to their shrink. They gotta go talk to a shrink about the Chicago Bears. That's how bad it's been. You know, fucking depressing. Um, my cousin, man, he a Minnesota Vikings fan. Yeah, they getting their ass handed to them. They not able to compete either. The NFL, the NFC Central is not competitive. All of them teams, the Detroit Lions, we'll see how they play. I mean, they've been playing, you know, pretty good so far, but we'll see how they match up against like Baltimore, Miami, Pittsburgh. Who else is on fire? The Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see how they match up against them. But the NFC Central hasn't been really competitive. Even when Rodgers was playing, it was a couple years where they went deep, but I don't think they were good enough to beat them other teams because them other teams are a lot more, better than a lot of the NFC Central teams. Cause see, the Bears used to compete with Green Bay. They used to knock they used to knock Rodgers' wig back when they had Khalil Mack and company. They used to knock five from Rodgers, and they would have close games, but then they had no offense. They had the same issues. They had no passing offense. So basically, the other team would just close in on them and just lock them up on the running game, blitz the quarterback. I mean, so if you don't have no passing game, basically you have to have a balanced overall offense. Anybody that coaches football knows this. You have to have an overall passing offense in order to basically for your plays to work. So, for example, if you running and your running game is working really well, that opens up your passing game. If your passing game is really well, guess what that opens up? Your running game. Because they have to go deep to defend the passing, so that gives your running back more room to basically because they have to fall back into coverage into the receivers. So a lot of the linebackers have to fall back, so that opens up your running game. So the Bears, no running game. So basically, all they have to do is just hang. They all they have to do is just basically run up and basically attack the quarterback, and that's it. That's real basic. It's the most basic defense. Like when you play a team like that, it's very easy to win, and it's like you can just mollywop a team very easily because it's like basically all you got to do is blitz, mainly blitz, and use stunts all day because it's no running back all game, no passing attack or passing threat. So basically, you just hold close and then just harass the quarterback all day. And that's what they've been doing. That's what they actually been doing. That's what they've been doing to the Bears for about a decade now. Because the quarterbacks, I mean, Cutler was all right. He wasn't the worst. I mean, actually, Jay Cutler is the best quarterback statistically as far as passing in Bears history, but that's only because they kept him for so long. After they paid him the 100 million and he was, basically he sucked. They just gave him some more money. They gave him another contract extension, and his model wife basically, ended up divorcing him, and then he's basically just like he's just like a joke. I'm sure he has some like issues as far as like with his legacy as an NFL quarterback because basically, man, I'm sure he don't care. I mean, just think about it. Who cares if people talk about you? Like, okay, if I went to the office, right? Like, if you went to the office and you was making over $100 million, and then people was talking shit about you, right? Would you really care? Like, I mean, like the only thing you have to deal with people in the public talking shit about you, but you got over like $300 million in your career. I mean, would you really care? Like, I mean, like, really, like, yeah, it does like fuck with your legacy though, because when you walk around, it's like he go this bum. And you gonna have some people that respect you or whatever. He wasn't like the worst quarterback. He was definitely better than Rex Grossman. But the thing is that yeah, I mean, he wasn't like no excellent quarterback, like in my opinion. But they maintained him for so long that's why he's as far as stats, because they kept him for like damn near 10 years. That's why. I mean, not even 10 years. I think it was like maybe 6 or 7 years. So they had him for so long that he just basically put up numbers, and that's why. The best quarterback that I've seen ever in my 40 plus years on this earth watching the Bears, the best quarterback I've ever seen was Justin Fields. And that just is what it is, man. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. I mean, you can fucking see the shit. But without a passing attack, without a running back threat, and also what the problem with the Bears is their defense as far as their linemen, defensive linemen, also offensive linemen, and cornerbacks and safeties. Basically, you could pass there. Another team's passing threat is like they can get their shit off with the Bears defense. The running back game, they're pretty good with that this year, but basically they can't hardly get to the quarterback, because it's like they don't have the same, they don't have a very like, Chicago is known for defense, busting through linemen, getting to quarterbacks. That's what they known for, and they don't. That's not them this year. You know what I'm saying? That's not them. And that's what it is, man. They gave Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson should be fucking waived. Eddie Jackson should take his ass to fucking Gary and buy a house. He should buy some houses on 2300 Jackson Street and go sit his fucking ass down somewhere. He should go get waived and let somebody else pick his ass up. I never seen somebody that's so overrated than Eddie Jackson. I mean, terrible fucking cornerback. I can catch on fucking Eddie Jackson. I'll put $1,000 up. I'll put $1,000 up. I'll catch over Eddie Jackson, my old ass. I'm definitely taller than him. I can catch over fucking Eddie Jackson. So it's like, yeah, man. Yeah, it's my vent. I don't know. I mean, this is just something I had to get off. I mean, kind of hope you know what's going on now. I'm People ain't gonna get nobody on my comment section tell me anything different, and I'm gonna give views on this a little bit, and ain't nobody gonna say shit because I ain't lying. I know what the fuck I'm talking about.